so I feel like from that conversation with Jason and then also that conversation with Sting, I finally realized it's okay to mess up. It's okay to have that setback because that is ultimately helping fortify your misfit identity.
I would get an email from an opera company I've never auditioned for that my colleagues would hope to get an audition for. It's like, hey, we would like you in this role. Oh, that's funny. I've never auditioned. Send me the score. Flip, 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 flip. Ah, there's the N-word you needed me to sing. Gotcha, okay, I can do that. As long as the check clear.
I think setbacks are just a part of it, and honestly, if you're not having failure, it's not trying hard enough.
This just like, being an artist is a luxury. I truly see it as a luxury because I don't feel like I have to compartmentalize my emotions. I feel like my emotions are the actual creative pool that I pull from for everything.
So when I see that like some people are like, this is no, I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm going in the right direction. Because for as loud as there are, there's gonna be someone in the darkness saying like, wait, I like that, I like that.
The reason I do what I do is because I know I don't sing like anybody else. And that's okay. Art is not just about your voice. If you hyper-focus on that, then you're missing the whole picture of art. You know, I think every person that finds their misfit identity in that process, there are so many setbacks. I know I've had mine. I'm curious, like, what are some of the ones that you felt like were defining moments in you actually progressing to find your misfit self? And that might be too deep. I don't know, that might be a lot, but I'm just curious. Like, I mean, I can start. I mean, I can definitely start if that's helpful.
I prefer if you started this time.
Sure, like, one of the biggest moments for me, kind of we were talking about like the voice and finding that. I was so nervous to sing because I never grew up, I grew up like doing choir, like small things here, but I never trained in my voice. And, you know, I joined this unbelievable vocal group, Pentatonics, and everybody's a trained singer, choral, musical theater, those are the best singers, and I'm like, I will stay in my lane and just beatbox, y'all. I can't do what y'all do. And if that's the standard of what it's supposed to be a trained singer, I can't even get close to that. It's gonna take me years upon years. But as I would go to these places where I would hear people speak their art, sing their art, say these very, very vulnerable things, I go, I wanna figure out, do I even have something to say vocally? Like, do I have something to really talk about? And I got to meet Sting. And this was, I mean, just the most amazing thing, because he said, the reason I do what I do is because I know I don't sing like anybody else. And that's okay. Art is not just about your voice. If you hyper-focus on that, then you're missing the whole picture of art. That's just one color you're painting with. There's also the production that you curate that helps your voice tell your story. There's also the lyrical content that only you can say that comes from your specific personage. And so I remember there was a concert that I was singing with Pentatonics. I was singing The Way You Make Me Feel. It was a Michael Jackson medley, and I tanked on it, and I felt so bad. And that's the conversation that came after that, that I needed to say, wait a second, I have been trying to be like my bandmates this whole time. The whole goal is to figure out how I sing, and then use that and curate a sound that only feels like me. And then from that space, speak my message. And I'm so thankful for that. Like, if I had not messed up on that Michael Jackson, The Way You Make Me Feel, and felt the pain of that, and then not had that conversation immediately afterwards, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing today, and I don't think this album, Dawn of a Misfit, would be released into the world.
Well, what was the conversation like? Was it with your friends, your family?
It was with my sound engineer, Jason. I love this man. I sang The Way You Make Me Feel, went terribly. Like, I heard it back on like a Twitter like feed, and it was pitchy, all that kind of stuff, right? And I'd only been singing for a few years. I went to the back of my bus and I was just crying. I was like, I don't know why I'm just like trying to do this. This is foolish. Like, I haven't trained like they have. And Jason just said, like, he's a very simple guy. I love this man so much. He just came like, well, you failed this one time, just do it again. And I was like, but it's not that easy. Like, I'm in this band, everybody has a perception. And he broke it down in a way where it's like, no, just do it again. And so that paired with Sting's conversation made me realize, oh wait, I'm gonna have to continuously do this again. I'm gonna continuously have to fail in writing each song and not every song being great. I'm gonna continuously have to figure that out when I'm making these cello kind of vocalizations, and this vocalization didn't feel right. I tried it in the performance, this person didn't really like that, or I didn't love how that went. I'm just gonna have to try to do it again. And so I feel like from that conversation with Jason and then also that conversation with Sting, I finally realized it's okay to mess up. It's okay to have that setback because that is ultimately helping fortify your Misfit identity. More irons in the fire. I guess when I say irons in the fire, I mean iron of failures in the fire that help you feel confident in yourself. So I feel like that's for me, the setback that really defined me becoming who I am.
Sorry, I don't know, there's a lot
No,
of,
that was
a lot
good.
of conversation.
Like,
No,
you know,
thank
just-
you. My setback, that's funny, where it happened timeline-wise, as far as like figuring out I'm a misfit, I was doing the traditional opera thing. I was mixing opera and hip hop, but literally in my head or in my car. I wasn't even recording it, but I just liked the feel of it. However, in my opera career, I was pretty frustrated with it. I got into this ceiling where it felt like I could not get better roles. However, I was getting better roles when they needed someone when they specifically needed a black person for that opera. Sure. It got to a point where I would get an email from an opera company I've never auditioned for that my colleagues would hope to get an audition for. It's like, hey, we would like you in this role. Oh, that's funny. I've never auditioned. Send me the score. Flip, 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 flip. Ah, there's the N-word you needed me to sing. Gotcha, okay, I can do that. As long as the check clears. So I was frustrated with my career. I felt that I wasn't moving anywhere and I kind of like almost quit. And then I made this video and I think that's what gave me the courage to even post it. The fact that mentally I'd almost like quit being an opera singer. And when I posted it, and I quit because I thought I wasn't good. I was a really good I am a good opera singer, but even back then I was really good, but this idea that if you don't sound like the top 5%, don't do that publicly, don't put it out anywhere, don't record it, nah. And so I didn't think I was good, I just was listening to these voices. Then I made this video, well, mixed opera and hip hop, I posted it, and that week I heard from Ellen, America's Got Talent, Time Magazine wanted to interview me, and I was like, I think I've been listening to the wrong people. As far as like what the art is, and that moment of thinking what I was doing was wrong, and then getting such loud response when I finally put it out there that it's like, no, this is good, was shifting for me because I was in a dark, sad place because as an opera singer, for a lot of us, we've devoted our life and a lot of our identity for a lot of us to being an opera singer and realizing like the thought that. Funny how perspective changes. Back then, I was like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be successful. I'm not a good opera singer. Solely because some companies weren't hiring me. I thought I wasn't a good opera singer. It's insane. Because now I know that I can sing and just take it where people want to hear it. And I don't need to wait for a company to hire me to know that I am that good. And that shift, that was the shift from the hard place. So now, for me, I'm so used to the negative that it's really easy to just hear the positive. So I see the negative comment, like positive, and the negative comment, and I'm just like, oh, you're probably one of them. That's fine. You're supposed to be confused. And then learning more so that in order to do what I want to do and move this art form forward and create gateways for the people who love opera to have an access point to it, or who've been curious about it to have an access point. On the road to doing what I want to do with this music, I recognize that I need to upset certain people.
That's so good.
Right.
Because authenticity is polarizing.
Yeah.
And so when I see that like some people are like, this is no, I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm going in the right direction. Because for as loud as there are, there's gonna be someone in the darkness saying like, wait, I like that.
Right.
Finally, I have something, like, I can do this with my instrument. I have a thing. The comments of people saying like, I used to play viola for years and I haven't picked it up, but I'm gonna go home and pick it up today. And that, just feeling that they have a reason, a connection point, an access point. It's everything. So it really, now it feels like I barely remember the hard times.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it's like they can never come back because the people, they don't have the power anymore. Your opinions, nah, you don't, you're the wrong opinion.
Yeah, that's good.
I know you mean well, you love your art form, but you're misguided,
Like,
in my
bye.
opinion.
Thank
it
you.
will thrive, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's great. I'll go. Honestly, I feel like I have had so many setbacks, so many failures, so many bad performances, and it's just data, and I really see it that way, and it obviously at times makes me like sad and everything, like, oh no, but it's just like, let me just work harder and be better. I think that's one of the really big advantages of being a professionally trained violinist is that I have had really tough teachers since I was 3. So I'm used to like, oh, sweetie, you're not gonna make it. Or, oh, that's just horrible. You know, like just hearing honestly really like hard things that make you just wanna like run home and cry and like quit. And I'm just very used to that. So really like, I've had a lot of setbacks at labels with managers who've tried to really take advantage of me with, gigs, artists, major artists who have tried on like soundtrack films, who've tried to like take what I've written and just give me a little check instead of, you know, like so many things like I've experienced. And it's just data. I tell my friends, I tell my colleagues, I'm like, don't let this happen. It's just, let me learn, let me get better, let me sharpen my tools, let me get a better team. Like, now I have great managers, a great team. You know, I think setbacks are just a part of it. And honestly, if you're not having failure, you're just not trying hard enough. Like,
yeah, that's good.
I think that's kind of how I see it. And it's like, honestly, I'm learning to golf right now.
Really?
Which is so hard.
Okay.
Golf is
I've always wanted to, personally.
oh my gosh.
I went to Topgolf twice, I'm not going back. Embarrassing.
It is, I'm addicted to this
It's
thing.
so much harder than it looks.
It's so hard, and that's why I love it.
Wow.
It's just, it's just like an instrument. You gotta practice, and you go out and you meet people, and it's embarrassing, you have bad shots, but I don't know, I think for me, I just love work. I love the honesty of like my flaws. I love listening to playback and being like, that was out of tune.
Right.
Don't do that again.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and I just think that's just kind of how I was just raised, and just, again, being a very classically trained violinist, it's just, it comes with it, I think.
Yeah, it's almost like you're not emotionally tied to
Yeah.
Not saying you're not emotionally tied to the performance, but you take a step back and just say, what has the data presented me? Which I think is a really hard thing, because as artists, we're so like emotionally connected to it. It's like,
Right.
you can't survive a long-term career if you continue to do that.
You can't survive a classical career.
That's good.
If you can't separate that.
That's good.
I think if you're like a pop artist, that's different. I think that's a much more sensitive personality, honestly. But if you're a classically trained instrumentalist, opera singer, you've been through the fire. You've been through every single possible rejection you can imagine, and you are going to be your toughest critic.
That's true.
That's a hard
So I think like,
That's the truth.
yeah, I mean, I'm with artists all the time, and it's like they're very sensitive, right? You can't just be like, your rhythm's wrong.
Right.
You know, like,
It's like, hey,
it's nothing
you are
personal.
off.
It's really not personal.
Right.
It's just like your clothes don't match.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but again, I think it's really just a training, and it's a culture, and if anything, that goes to show everything we've been saying, which is just how that culture has a lot of toxicity in the classical world, and it's, to your point of like not feeling good enough, I've not felt good enough so many times, like, It's really messed up, but it does give you sharp teeth.
Yeah,
I'll say that,
good.
you know? So,
That it does. I've had to bite it for you.
yeah.
I would say the primary setbacks for my artistry have actually had nothing to do with my artistry. It's really just like, like life in itself. You know what I mean? Just like dealing with life on a day-to-day basis, changes that happen, you know, losses that you feel. This just like, being an artist is a luxury. I truly see it as a luxury because I don't feel like I have to compartmentalize my emotions. I feel like my emotions are the actual creative pool that I pull from for everything, as opposed to a career where I would have to, you know, be like, okay, I'll think about this later. Like after 5 p.m., I'll think about this later. And I just think being able to stay true to my artistry in light of whatever comes up in my life, that has been the hardest thing, but it's also been the most necessary thing. It's been the most necessary thing. Because if I wasn't tapped into my artistry as much as I am, like, you know, I'm a very emotional person. So like, I'm like, damn, I don't know if I'd be able to get through this, you know what I mean? Like, if I don't have somewhere to put this, man. So I'm grateful for it in that sense. And that's why artistically or in my career, any setback that happens, I try to embrace and try to, you know, push through it. Because, you know, tap dance, there were way more talented people in this art form that did not get the proper credit they deserve, you know? And I'm talking about the Jimmy Slides, the Gregory Hines, Maurice Hines, Sandman Sims, Sammy Davis Jr., Baby Lawrence, the Nicholas Brothers, the Berry Brothers, Tip Tap and Toe. Like, these are all people that, like, couldn't be in the same dressing room as the other performers. These are the same people that, you know, I like have to have a dressing room and a trailer in the middle of the desert and then walk into the building from there. It's just like, I'm constantly reminded of that every day. And so when it comes to just dealing with, you know, annoying things that I have to deal with in my career, I just try to think like, you know, Maurice, he said, just keep going. He said, just keep staying happy. He said, just keep giving to the crowd, pay attention to the audience, like just keep having that funneling to give me motivation.
I'm also so curious if you all have like an identity that you step into whenever you are your misfit self, like an alter ego, like an animal. Like for me, when I wake up in the morning, the thing that I always imagine myself to be, and I feel like to me it represents the misfit, is a tiger. Because in culture, people look at the lion as the standard, but people don't actually realize that tigers are stronger. And I feel like in a lot of ways, they have to know that because they had to earn their stripes to know that they're strong. And so for me, you know, especially because it's just so much more left field. Like, I look at that and I think about that, and like, how would I be on stage? I want to feel strong. I want to feel confident. I want to feel like, you know, I can own and dominate my space because it's the space of service that somebody else needs. Like, is there that alter ego, is that person, that thing that you think of, that you step into whenever you become your misfit self?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is a hair. It's specifically Bugs Bunny.
Oh my gosh, when you said hair, I was thinking this. I was like, a hair? I was confused. I don't know why I thought that. Crazy.
H-A-R-E.
Wait, elaborate.
Yeah, for sure elaborate. I want to know.
First of all, he was my introduction to opera.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
One of the first like clips of anything opera I've seen for a number of introductions was Bugs Bunny there. Bugs Bunny, I relate to him in the sense that like I usually just want to have a good time. When he shows up, when he brings himself to a thing, it's effortless. It's a kind of powerful that doesn't make sense. Meaning like he'll reach in his pocket and pull out a hammer 3 times his size. Like it's nothing. And so when I'm on that stage, I feel unlimitedly powerful. But I'm just there to have a good time.
Right.
And so anything that like, any element of that tries to like inhibit that, like it could be a vocal thing, a performance thing, something like, oh, now you get to be part of the show. Now you get to, you're gonna feed the character. And at no point am I gonna look more flustered or am I gonna look flustered? Meaning, if I do, it's part of my performance. And so I loved the ease and the the ease, the power. I know it's weird to think of Bugs Bunny as powerful, but in my mind, it was just like, whatever he needed, he had on him. And he dealt with it. And it's also been the way I've dealt with the adversity going through this. I'm just having a good time. If you bug me, of course you know this means war. Now the rest of the episode,
pull out the hammer.
pull out the hammer. That's cool. But musically, performance-wise, because I'm telling stories. I'm a storyteller first in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It's bugs. I know.
I love that.
Like, yeah.
No, I love that.
Well, for me, my first name is Meredith, and Ezinma is my middle name. And growing up, I was teased so much for my middle name. And so it's kind of funny, the very thing that really made me a misfit is actually the thing that, like, when I go on stage, I'm a different person. There's a separation. You know, she can somehow, like, play bending backwards while on her knees when normal me like can't do that. I'm like, who is she? No, but it's really this sort of like alter ego in a way that's really powerful, and it's cool to reclaim it because it was literally the source of so much of my anguish. I was like, why can't my middle name be Emily or like something normal? So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I would say not a specific animal, but there's definitely like a flow of energy that I lock into that locks into like my primal instincts when I get on the wood or on the mic. Like, it's more of like a directional outpour this way, as opposed to like when I'm just existing as a human being, I'm like receiving. And it's like it's physical sensation that I feel when I'm on stage. Especially because as a tap dancer, all your information is from the floor, right? So from the wood, so I'm drawing from that, so I'm just like really, really grounded. And my particular style is like my brother and sister make fun of me about it, but like I go hard. Like I hit the ground like physically hard.
Bro, I've seen it in person.
Yeah.
You go real hard, and I love it, dude.
I try to be light too, and that's a different color that I've had to like develop over time. But definitely just like being able to embody any animal or essence that just like is on the attack. You know what I mean? But as of the past like 2 years, from a writing standpoint and just like movement standpoint, I've been experimenting with delicacy and patience and ease. Right, trying to be more of a gazelle rather than a lion. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
So it depends. Yeah.
That wasn't even a question.
We have one more thing
Yeah.
you want us to know about. I think someone has a birthday tomorrow.
Oh,
Your birthday's tomorrow?
happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kevin.
Oh my gosh. Here, I'll take it.
Happy birthday to you.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Ooh, okay, well.